Thank you very much, Callum, for the very warm welcome. My last TEDx talk was at Tanglin Trust, so it's very good to be back on home turf at UWC for this TEDx talk. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about the topic of this TEDx, the truth, I was stumped. In fact, I wanted to pull out. I mean, what is the truth? And what on earth could I possibly share that would inspire? So I decided to think about my day-to-day work and to see if there was anything there that might lead to the truth. So for a day job, I work as a business manager at Singapore Repertory Theatre. Some of you may know it for productions like Shakespeare in the Park, which will be back in 2020, shameless plug. On the weekends, however, I coach debate right here at UWC. I've been coaching debate for over 12 years of my life, 6 of which are here and where I got to work with amazing debaters like Callum and some of the speakers that you'll hear tonight. Debate is something I'm incredibly passionate about. Growing up, I never had a prestigious education. I liked to play video games, and that's why in secondary school, I studied a normal academic stream, where I took a year longer to complete my studies than most of my peers. I went to one of the lowest ranked junior colleges in Singapore, but none of that really mattered because I worked my way up. I got my bachelor's, my master's in political science and international relations. I think things really started to change for me when I was in junior college, when a teacher of mine who really believed in me said, "You should join the debate club." And I said, "Okay." I went home, I told my mom I'm gonna join debate, and she went, "Oh, you're gonna want to fight about everything, aren't you?" I did. The thing that hooked me to debate was that I found it excitingly empowering. You see, when you're on that debate floor, it doesn't matter what school you're from, your race, your age, your wealth, none of that matters. What matters is your ability to paint a worldview persuasively, to articulate an idea precisely. And it is through debate that my entire life has changed. And I'm so grateful for that teacher who believed in me, who thrusted me into the world of debate. So I got a topic. But then I had to figure out what debate had to do with the truth. Well, the first step to any debate is to read about the news, to find out what's going on around the world, to build your understanding of the world. Because it's only when you know that you have the examples and evidence you need to substantiate your arguments. Reading the newspapers these days, however, is incredibly depressing. The truth of our world today seems to be that we live in a world of chaos, where there are megalomaniacs and genocides and suicide bombings, and the list of terrible things goes on and on and on and on. The truth of our world today seems to be like there's nothing that ordinary people like you and I can do about the bitter divisions that plague society. I'd like to share that the truth is that we're not that powerless, and that debate offers a lesson or two that can help us deal with this fractured world that we live in. So, what is debate about anyway? Think of debate as a sport where there are two opposing teams, like in football, but different. And they're trained in skill and strategy to outperform each other and therefore win a round. Debate has 3 key attributes. Firstly, it forces you to face your opponent, accept they have a different point of view, but most importantly, respect them for it. Secondly, debaters are trained to write arguments substantiated with well-researched facts. Something that's very lacking these days in social media blogs and stuff. Thirdly, debaters are trained to match problems with solutions, because it's not enough to just talk about a problem. You have to know how to fix it too. Now, these attributes have huge benefits when extended into the real world. Just an example, one of the times of year where I get the most annoyed is during election season. Because everywhere you go, in the coffee shops, in the office, on social media, everyone's debating. But all they're doing is they're talking about what they want, what they need, what they think is right and wrong. It's all about them. Just go onto Facebook and you'll find the most awful, vitriolic hate speech, where people trade personal insults just because they don't see eye to eye. You see, that's everything that debate is not about. Debate is about never making it personal. Debate is about accepting that there is a different point of view, and that your point of view is backed up by well-researched facts. Debate is about compromise, and not just ending off arguments with, I'm right and you're wrong. Just try this with me. Imagine a world where someone who wants to build a wall has a frank and respectful conversation with a migrant who's escaping the ravages of poverty, really understanding where each side is coming from. Imagine a world where someone who's deeply religious can sit down with someone they completely disagree with, a single mother who wants to have an abortion, a homosexual, and realize that there's so much they share, their fears, their hopes, their dreams. Sympathy, respect, and matching the right solutions with the right problems. That's how debate helps us humanize and navigate our differences. And when we can do that, that's when we start taking baby steps towards dealing with the truth of our fractured world. But before we can do any of that in the first place, we have to urge, especially our young, to speak, guided by the principles of debate, to have perspective. Just think of 15-year-old Greta Thunberg, who dared to speak truth to politicians about climate change. Think about Malala Yousafzai, who risked her life to speak truth to tyranny and inequality. Think of the Singapore Pink Dot ambassadors who dare to stand truth to discrimination as they stand for the freedom to love. You see, speaking truth to power is crucial, because if we don't, then we'll never begin to have the conversations that matter. Then we'll never begin to have the conversations that create change and that help us confront our bitter divisions. So as a call to all the students at United World College, I urge you to speak. But remember, speak not to hear your own voice, but with respect and with well-researched opinions. Speak after having listened to what your opponents have had to say. Speak not for the sake of distrust, but speak with the mind of building on our shared humanity. I'd like to leave you with a quote from a poem, Speak, by Fez Ahmed Fez. Speak, this little time is plenty before the death of both body and tongue. Speak, for the truth is still alive. Speak, say whatever is to be said. Thank you.